Hello, welcome back to the David Watson podcast. Today I spoke with Peter, and Peter, amongst other things, has written 10 children's books, all about Fred the Snake. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, welcome to the David Watson podcast. How are you?
Terrific, thank you. All good.
And we have actually just been having a bit of a natter, as we're both from England, and you are currently... Well, not currently, you now live in America. And you literally just held up a puppet called Fred. Tell me about Fred.
Well, this is Fred the Snake. He's the hero of my books. We've written 10 books for young children together. And he goes all over the place with his friends and some kids, having a lot of fun. We just published the 10th one, which was a little bit unusual. It's about the Chinese Zodiac, because, and here it is, just when Fred the Snake and friends learn the Chinese Zodiac and the Great Race. And I started on that one because 2025 is the year of the snake in the Chinese calendar. And so I decided to do that one. The Great Race is about the 12 animals that constitute the Chinese years, and the order in which the years appeared are the order in which the animals finish the great race and get to the heavenly gate with the Jade Emperor. So
I didn't
that's
know
been
that.
fun.
I did not know that. That's
the rat comes first and the pig comes last, and there's a lot of ones in between. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
my Chinese sign is tiger. I'm the year of the tiger.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was nice to see that on the cover of your book, the front cover of the book. I'm glad that the priorities are right. I didn't know that there was a great race. So did you already know that, or did that come about with research? Or
I didn't know much about it. I've been in China quite a lot for lecturing and stuff, and so I was familiar with the calendar, but I didn't know exactly how it had arisen. And so I learned a fair amount about it, tried to put some of it on the page, as it were. I have a wonderful illustrator, a Canadian girl, who's illustrated all my books and does a wonderful job with the different animals and all the different things that are going on. Love it.
so you said there's 10 books. Are they all with Fred?
Yes, the first one is I just happened to have got that one in front of me.
That's handy. Here's one you
When,
prepared earlier.
when Fred the Snake got squished and mended. And this actually started off as a bedtime story when my kids were young, which was a very, very long time ago, about how to cross the road, or in fact, how not to cross the road, because Fred didn't understand how to cross the road. He rushed across with never a glance into the path of an ambulance, and as a result, got a little bit squished. And then he had to get mended, and the doctor needed a very special type of thread that only comes from a bush that grows beneath large rhinos. And so we had to get Jungle Jim to go and fetch this special thread for Fred to get mended. So that was a bedtime story, and it wasn't a book until those kids had their kids, and they said, "What happened to Fred?" Actually, they said, "What happened to Fred?" Because they called him Fred because he was in two bits for a while. And so I found the text and improved it, and then found this wonderful illustrator. And so we published that as a book. That's about 12 years ago now. And that one seemed to be popular. So then we got on a roll and kept going about once a year.
Did I hear you say that the Fred came from a bush that only grew under rhinos?
No, the thread, not Fred.
Yeah, the Fred. Yeah, sorry, THREAD.
Yeah, the thread that the doctor needed to sew Fred back together again came from a plant that only grew beneath large rhinos. Yes, so it was very tough.
I love that. That is absolutely genius.
Well, thank you. So Jungle Jim had to go and and tempt the rhino away from this bush with some chocolates, because this particular rhino was very fond of chocolates. And so he got it, and they got a monkey to give it to a seagull who swung it back to the hospital, and it all ended happily ever after. So, and Fred said, I'll have to read that because I should be able to remember all of this, shouldn't I? It's as as he fell. This is the end of the day. As he fell asleep, I heard Fred say, "It's been a very trying day. Tomorrow, when I'm on the road, I won't forget my crossing code, and nor will you. That's my advice, lest you spell your name like Fred twice." So
That's
that's the
good.
end of that book.
I'm impressed. Do all of the books have this kind of moral or story advice for children?
Yeah, they do, as a matter of fact. And the second one was when the boy takes Fred to school. So, as you might imagine, everyone was a bit nervous about having a snake at school. But Fred became very popular by being very helpful and turned himself into a soccer goal and a skipping rope and things that they needed at school. So he became popular. But then when they went camping, for instance, he was told how not to eat the mushrooms that came across or the berries on the trees. And then when they went to the beach, Fred's girlfriend Bernadette got swept away on a wave and so had to be rescued. Actually, Fred and Bernadette got married in Vegas in one of the later books. That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Where did the ideas come from? Where did it start?
The I'm a gastroenterologist, or used to be, basically a stomach doctor. And I was in at the very beginning of the use of flexible endoscopes. A lot of people are familiar with endoscopes and sometimes intimately familiar with colonoscopy and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I actually, frankly, invented some of that stuff, and I named some of the things. But anyway, bottom line is, I was explaining to my son what I did all day with these, and I showed him a photograph of one of these flexible instruments, and he said, "That's a snake." And so that's how I started off with a snake, which in retrospect, it might have been smarter to have a koala bear or a puppy or a rabbit or something, but I've stuck with Fred. We called him Fred, but that was very stupid because it was a very popular song at the time. I don't know if you remember a song that Wright said, "Fred,
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
cup
I'm
of..."
too sexy.
Yeah, so who was the guy? Bernard Cribbins,
Yeah,
who
yeah,
sang
yeah.
"Have a cup of tea" and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
No, I remember now. Yeah, yeah.
that's how he became Fred the Snake.
Yeah, I was thinking of Right Said Fred, the band.
But we, yeah, but he was on his own to begin with, and then he invited Jungle Jim to bring some other animals. So they had a whole bunch of animals, and then I added a couple of my grandkids, Purdy and Jack. So they in all of the later books, and then the most recent one, the Chinese one, we incorporated the two Chinese kids, uh, son and daughter of a gastroenterology friend of mine, to explain the Zodiac thing to Purdy and Jack and Fred and all the other animals. Yeah.
Right. So, was because I read on your bio, there's obviously a lot of medical papers you've written,
Yeah.
but I'm assuming that apart from the practice of writing, they're not the same whatsoever.
No, I think they're diametrically opposite. I mean, the scientific papers you have to get really accurate, and kids' books you have to be imagining a lot of things. So They're completely different, but I've always enjoyed the process of writing. I seem to reasonably good at it, and so it wasn't difficult to make a switch. The reason I got into it more in the last 12 years, because once I gave up seeing patients and hurting them, sort of semi-retired, my wife said she married me for life, but not for lunch. So you better find something else to do. So but that's how we pulled Fred out of the closet and started on those books.
So, I'm assuming then, so was Fred a series of just stories that you told your children? You just kind of made up on the spot?
The first one was, but just lay dormant for 25 years until they had their children, or 20 years or whatever it was, and then I just got rolling. They weren't intended to be bedtime stories, the other ones, but I hope some of them do get read to kids
Yeah.
at bedtime. That's the plan. Sort of the 3 to 8 age group. Although the last one, the Chinese Zodiac, I think is probably okay for older kids too, because it's pretty educational. So I've always tried to combine sort of amusement and a bit of education together. The books 7, 8, and 9 are when they travel across the United States. So the first book covers the East Coast from Washington to Florida and through New Orleans and stuff, and then the Central, and then the West Coast. So 3 different books which are very educational, but also I think hopefully somewhat amusing. And there's a moral there. For instance, in Alaska, if you meet a bear, be, be excuse me, if you meet a bear, be brave, shout out loud, and madly wave. Get together in a bunch to avoid becoming lunch. So that's a sort of
Do you
moral
have
story.
the kind of rhyme theme going through all the books?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all of them. It's I don't know why, but I enjoy doing that, and I seem to do it reasonably well. Judging by, well, I shouldn't say that. Reviewing other children's books that are rhyming, some of them are not quite as accurate.
Is that a polite way of saying there's shit?
Where's what?
Is that a polite way of saying there's shit? It's an adult podcast. We can.
Oh, wait. I thought you said that.
You've been in
No,
America too long. You've forgotten how blunt the British can be.
it's called crap over here. No, no. Well, one tries to be nice when writing reviews because otherwise
Yeah, for sure.
other people write nasty reviews. We don't like that.
But
You're
no,
welcome.
I know what you're
You're
saying.
welcome. You're welcome to go on Amazon and write some reviews on all my books if you like.
I'll
They
probably
like
avoid.
that.
Yeah, I'll probably avoid saying anything terrible. But it is because one of the things that is important when writing is actually understanding what you do well, and because as you said, you've hinted at it a couple of times about is it's acknowledging actually I'm quite good at this. And then being
Yeah.
comfortable in that and exploring the things that come naturally to you, because I think sometimes when people write, it's not that they're not good, it's they try to be something they're not.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I
Like
think
me on the golf course. Yeah.
yeah, but it's but when we're on the golf course, we can forgive ourselves, and I think when people write, when they lean into things they're not naturally good at, because they're trying to be similar to somebody they probably admire, or a book that they've read that they admire. They're looking for a style because they want to kind of fall under that umbrella. They ignore that kind of natural flow that comes up when you do what you're good at, and when you're good at something, there's a flow that
Yeah.
and I think that's important to recognise. Like you were saying, is you enjoy the process of writing the rhyme. You enjoy the process of exploring the morals for children, and and coming up using that imagination. And because you just actually let that happen, you get a much more creative spark.
Yeah, I think that's true for sure. Yeah, yeah, very wise.
And
I hadn't thought of it like that, but yeah.
well, it's just I suppose yeah, I would say, and please correct me, but academically, because of and professionally, because of what you've achieved, you probably have a different confidence to say somebody that's never written, and somebody who's exploring. Well, because you've mentioned, you go to lectures, you have done some sort of groundbreaking work in the gastroenterology world, and
Mm.
being accountable for what you do was a perk of your job, whether you wanted it or not. And
Hmm.
and going around the world talking to people and having people listen to you is
Mm.
a skill set within itself, even if it just comes naturally, or it's just, well, that come with the job.
Hmm.
Where some people would shy away from that, and I see that sometimes, or I hear it on the podcast when people talk about books or what they would want to write, and
Mm.
often they're trying to find their style. They will spend lots of time going to writing classes, taking writing instruction, and then they're
Mm.
listening to people that can't hear the thoughts in their head. And
Hmm. Hmm.
it's there is a confidence that comes with just listening to that. Or you have to have a level of confidence to listen to those, like a gut instinct, and then following it.
Yeah. Well, that's all very true. I hadn't really thought of it through like that, but the bottom line is I've never been to any writing conferences or read anything about how to write. Uh, I listen to my kids who criticize me happily, and the grandkids, and now my great grandkids. So they all chip in. So that's helpful.
Yeah, I know.
Mm.
I can imagine it is. How did you? Where was childhood for you?
Where's what?
Where was childhood for you?
Childhood. I grew up in Herefordshire. My dad was a country doctor. As you know, that's on the border of Wales. Nothing much going on there. My dad was, say, a family doctor, a single-handed doctor for 25 years in a farming community. Um, so there wasn't much for me there, and there certainly wasn't a decent school there. So I actually went away to school in the traditional British way of punishing young children by sending them away to school and cold baths and rugby and that sort of stuff. Um, but then I trained. I was at Cambridge University, and then I went to medical school in London. And then never left London, although in retrospect I probably should have done so earlier. I was it was it was tough. The health service was seriously under-resourced at the time. I know it's still got some problems, but it's an awful lot better now than it was 40 years ago. And I struggled to develop a decent academic department with very little in the way of support for 10 years until it just really got on top of me. And so I took a 6 month break and went lecturing all over the United States, and kept being offered jobs over here. And I was offered a professorship at Duke University, which I couldn't turn down. So the kids were grown up at that time. I was just getting divorced, and I was ready for a big change. So it all worked out very nicely.
No, that's so.
Mm.
That must have been, yeah, like you said. There's a strange timing to that, isn't there? Is like you're saying, is your kids growing up, you're getting divorced, and somebody offers you a job abroad in America where you already are, and you're just like, oh, you're kind of hard. You'd be sort of hard to say no.
It was very difficult because the contrast. I was actually getting instructions at the Middlesex Hospital to do less work because I was consuming resources that didn't exist.
Yeah,
And then when I got to the States, the opposite was the case. Please do more because every time you did something, it brought in extra funds and more research money, and it was just like black and white, completely different. So, and I've enjoyed it here very much. There are problems with health, access to health for some people, but the working in a really classy university hospital, as I have done for the last 40 years, has been really very, very easy to do, and allowed me to explore and do the things I do well, and not necessarily have to do the things I didn't enjoy or do well. Um, I'm not sad to have hung it up 10 years ago or 12 years ago, because I had 50 or 60, 50 years in the trenches. But I look back at it with a great deal of pleasure, and I still have a lot of contacts, and indeed I inflict Fred in my stories on all my old contacts. I've trained people from all over the world. I just got back from Australia, staying with people that I trained from Australia, and stay in their beach houses and play their golf courses and drink their wine. It's not all bad.
No, it's like you say, it's a wonderful way to enjoy retirement. Beaches, golf, and wine. I'd I'd say most people.
Yeah, I live on the beach. If you could see out of my window behind me, you'll see the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, very nice. I can't see anything other than actually it looks like the sun's coming through.
Yeah.
Whereas, as you can imagine, December weather in the south of England, it's a mixture of rain and fog today. So
Yeah, well, I'll be there next week. My son lives in Bury St Edmunds in Suffolk.
yep,
My daughter lives near Oxford, so we spend a few days with each of them and their kids. I always enjoy that.
Do you get back to the UK often?
Well, it's twice a year, basically. We always come just before Christmas, not for Christmas, but just before. And then sometime in the summer, usually June or July, and they all come over here
Yeah,
in the spring and in the summer. So we see a lot of them.
that's not
I
too.
have an American family as well, so we all get together. Yeah.
That's nice. That's good. That's good. How many books do you? Did you say there's 10 now?
Yeah. 10 Fred books. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have any other children's books?
No.
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 Are you going to continue writing them?
My wife says not. She says you better sell a few. It's not a free occupation, because there's quite a certain amount of resources involved in putting a book together and having a wonderful illustrator and stuff like that. I've been encouraged to write more. I'd love to do something about Fred and his friends visiting London, or going to Australia, or whatever. But right now I'm in a sort of pause, and I'm talking to people like you in the hope of getting the word out a little bit more broadly.
Yes, go on.
The books are popular amongst family and friends and locally where we live, but getting out to the great, I was going to say great unwashed, that's not quite the right word, is it? It's a great readership out there through Amazon and all those wonderful things. Takes a little bit of effort.
Yeah, it does. People, and it's difficult as well, because on one hand, people underestimate how difficult it can be to get people to buy your book, and it's not that people don't want to buy books. It's just there is a lot of people who have written books, and you've got to try and get yourself above the noise. And it's the same with podcasting. There's so many, there's X amount of podcasts out there, and you've got to get your head above the noise, and you just kind of got to find ways to let people know. And it's a slow process because it takes time for people to hear about you, and like anything, it's there's a process that you just have to build on it until you get some momentum.
That's the plan. I've got my grandchildren doing things on TikTok for me now. That's seems to be the right way to go.
That
But
that that
I've struggled. I struggle a little bit with Instagram and other things like that. But I'm gradually getting on it.
that might be a good way of getting some stuff out there on TikTok and Instagram is just read little sections of the book while filming yourself. No more than 30 to 45 seconds. Maybe just
Yeah,
a few rhymes.
I've done, I've done some of that, and the problem is it's the kids don't buy the books. The parents in general don't. The grandparents are the ones that
Yeah,
actually come good. And when I do I put up my stall at markets or in the libraries and stuff locally. It's always the grandparents that I target. The parents always look away quickly, and although the kids like meeting Fred, they come and say hello to Fred, and he's here and he's listening. And he might want to say something in a minute, but we'll see. Um, but then I have a little electric snake, which amuses kids when I'm reading at schools. That usually causes a bit of chaos. Uh,
it's
Try and get some attention somehow.
it's good though to see the hand puppets again because like for you and I, that's what we would have grown up with, and
Hmm.
um, everything from Sooty and Sweep to Emu, and it's
I remember.
yeah.
Yeah. My toys were all made out of wood, if I remember.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was I'm slightly late. I was born in the 70s, but I did this. Toys sort of. They were wood. They were metal and hand puppets. Basically, when I look at what my niece plays with on a smartphone compared to what I mean,
Yeah.
basically, when I was 4, we went outside and ate mud. And today they've got smartphones and tablets and stuff, and it's just like no, it's just a different world.
It is. It is.
But it's a nice way to
Yes.
engage because you said something there like when you are at shows and stuff, grandparents will engage, whereas parents will walk away and turn the other way, and that's a kind of a sad reflection on the fact that grandparents remember interacting with children,
Yeah.
whereas today's parents don't. It's not the same. They're more inclined to give them something to entertain them rather than be the entertainer.
Yeah. It's an interesting. I think it was Michael Caine. You remember Michael Caine?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's done some interesting things recently. Actually, there's a little movie called The Great Escaper that he and anyway. Bottom line is he was talking about. He said, my life is almost over, but I'm reliving it through my grandchildren.
Yes.
So it was an interesting statement, and it was, I'm getting all my enjoyment sort of living through my grandchildren. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, it kind of reflects, though, doesn't it? Because culturally, there are a lot of cultures out there that when parents have children, it's the grandparents that look after the children, so the parents can go to work. And
Yeah,
a lot
increasingly.
of
Yeah, yeah,
a lot of traditional cultures were like that.
yeah, yeah. I guess that's true. I didn't apply to me. My I only knew one of my four grandparents, and he was. I got him very confused. I couldn't figure out whether he was a grandfather or an uncle, so I called him Grunkle, and he became Grunkle. But he was a scratch golfer, and he taught me a little bit about golf while he was still around, which was nice. But that's about it. didn't spend much quality time with any of them.
No,
Yeah,
it's kind of a reflection of the times, wasn't it? Because it's
yeah.
it's something I've always found fascinating with the UK, the UK and Ireland, and I say Ireland because I'm half Irish. Is on the continent there was very much this culture of living within the family. You know,
Mhm,
Italy,
mhm.
France, Germany, Portugal. They're kind of quite famous. You know, it was quite well known that you had these small family groups all kind of sharing the same place. But in the
Mhm.
UK and Ireland, it wasn't quite the same. It's not culturally s-
Yeah,
something they did
I'm
as
glad
much.
to know. I thought there was something special about you. A little bit of Irish, I think, is very important.
Mm.
Sometimes it can be too much. I think a quarter is probably about perfect. Half might be a little bit.
I'm 50
Anyway,
50. My dad is born and bred English up in Shropshire near Herefordshire.
oh yeah,
Yeah, so my
yeah,
dad
okay.
was from Shrewsbury, and my mum is from a place in Campile in Wexford.
Yeah. Well, we've had some wonderful times in Ireland. You can't avoid having wonderful times in Ireland. I just love it. But a lot of golf in the old days, but a lot of fun in different ways too. Just
Was it
love it.
was it your grandfather that got you into golf?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, yeah. He wasn't around for very long, but yeah, he got me started. Gave me some old hickory shafted clubs and some scuffed old golf balls to mess around with. Yeah, that was a very long time ago. Another thing about the grandparent bit that you talk about is that when I was a kid, most people died when they were sort of 65. I mean,
Yeah,
that was it.
yeah.
Move over.
Yeah, my mum's side, on my mum's side, both her parents died at 67.
Yeah, well, my dad died at 58.
Mm.
So here I am at 86, still doing the best I can. Just
Still,
very lucky.
yes,
Yeah,
but it's one of the wonderful things about the world we live in today that
yeah.
just because of lifestyle choices, because of what we know, and because of modern medicine and
Hmm.
modern life, we live well beyond what was once the expectation.
Yeah. My sister just died at 94, and my brother is 92. He's still sailing around. He lives in Norway, still sailing his boat single-handed around Scandinavia every summer.
Jesus,
Just amazing. Yeah. He actually
wonderful.
sailed from Norway to Scotland last year in his own little boat. It's just ridiculous, really. But you've got to take your hat off to him.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. And Norway's a nice place. I was there last year,
Yeah.
and I was very
Mm.
very lucky. I have a friend that lives there who also luckily has a cabin up in the mountains. So it's just like,
Yeah, why not? Yeah,
well,
this one does.
yeah, and yeah, it's exactly that. And so w- just going back to the golf. So you've been playing golf since you were a child.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I never got very good at it. Yeah, yeah. So a child, actually, um, I'm embarrassed to say that I actually got reasonably good at it while I was a medical student. I mean, you think I should have been studying, but I fell in with three other guys who were very keen golfers, and they dragged me off kicking and screaming to play golf rather too frequently. But then I got busy with work and family and all that sort of stuff. But then my son Andy um, had a terrific career, amateur career, and turned pro. He was on the European tour. I caddied for him in the Open a couple of times, and
Oh, nice.
so he and I have played a lot of golf all over the world together. Yeah.
Did you have a favourite course or favourite courses?
Well, yes. Well, in the United States, it's got to be Bandon Dunes, which is on the Oregon coast, which is there are five. It's golf heaven for the best place in the world. Got five golf courses, just pure golf. But some of my favorite golf has actually been in Australia and in particular New Zealand. There's wonderful golf courses in New Zealand, wonderful. And actually, I've just written a little bit about that in my blog. If you go to petertottenstales.com, my latest blog is all about golf. And actually, it's called Hanging Up My Clubs because I actually just resigned from my local golf club because I wasn't going to be playing enough in this winter, and it's time to hang it up.
Oh, you officially retiring from golf?
Yes, I have my legs aren't quite as good as they used to be, so I've decided that I'll move on.
Is there anywhere you never played that you wish you'd got the opportunity to?
Actually, I don't think so. Most people want to play Augusta National, where the Masters is played. I played there a few times. I played 63 holes there one day, which is pretty unusual. Uh, Pine Valley is always the number one on anybody's world list of best courses. I played there, so no, there are a lot of golf courses in China now, which is spectacular, I'm told, but uh, I'm too late for that.
Yeah. With is there a golf? Because I've never played golf. I've hit a few balls on a range, but I've never actually played on an 18-hole course. Is there anywhere that you've turned up that surprised you?
About golf?
Yeah. Is there a golf course you turned up to that just
Oh, surprise.
surprised you? Maybe worse than you was expecting, or better than you were expecting. Just
Oh, well, there was one in New Zealand where my host said he'd made special arrangements to go and play on this private course. And it turned out that it was a farmer, and he'd turned one of his fields into what he called a golf course, which was not any sort of a golf course at all. No, otherwise, they vary tremendously from fancy country clubs to pure golf club. The club that I've belonged to here for the last 25 years, called Bulls Bay, is just a pure golf club. There's nothing there apart from a golf course and some food. A lot of these places just have got tennis and swimming pools and pickleball and fancy restaurants and all that sort of stuff. So I don't really like those very much.
no. I kind of get. I'd be that inclined as well. I just want to stick to what I'm there for. Maybe.
Yeah, when you go, I mean, like the best golf courses in Ireland are all just golf courses, just
Yeah.
walking with caddies that are very amusing and having a great time sheltering from the rain.
Yeah. Lastly, just a couple of more questions. Where can people find you, your books, and your blog?
Well, they're available certainly on Amazon and all of those outlets, and you can buy them at any bookstore. They may not have them, but they can certainly order them. But I sell side copies from my website. That's petercottontails.com. That's TALES, not TAILS. petercottontails.com. So signed copies from there, and that's where most people who get them. And the local bookstores here, but that's not very helpful for you.
No, but if people can get them from your website, that's perfect. And my last question, which is a completely random question, I want you to, and you should be all right with this because it's your imagination. I want you to imagine you've got access to a time machine. The time machine is a car of your choice. What is the car? Where would you go? And what would be playing on the radio?
I like the car I've got right now, which is an electric Chevy Bolt, bright red. I love it. It's a great car. Um, I always fancied a rather sleek convertible in the old days, but I never got round to it. Where would I go in my car? I rather rather like to just turn around and come back to my island because I have to park it on the mainland and get in a boat to come where I live. And on the radio, I listen to podcasts. I don't listen to music.
Well, that's fine. Peter, it's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for your time.
I enjoyed it, and so does Fred. Fred, say goodbye. Bye.
And there you go. I did not know that the Chinese Zodiac was based on a great race, and the order of the Zodiac is the order of the animals that came first. I will do some research on that. But please do check out Peter's website. If you have children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren, please do check out Fred the Snake. The website link will be in the description, as will the links to the books. So, as always, thank you very much for listening, for your support and your comments, and everybody that likes and shares. It is appreciated. And wherever you're from, whatever you believe, please do take care and be blessed. Thank you.